So in this guide we're going to cover some more intermediate movement in Unreal Tournament, such as the ramp jumps and weapon jumping. Starting with ramp jumps, using the dodge mechanics you can easily slide up certain well placed ramps across the map, giving you more options to traverse the environment around you. Often these routes can help you speed up your travel times, as well as cut off opponents, as well as get up to items that you couldn't necessarily get up to before. To ramp jump, simply walk up to the base of the ramp and then hit your dodge key. You should fly up the ramp in a single swift motion. Personally, I find the single tap dodge method more reliable and consistent when using on small and average sized ramps, but ramps vary in different shapes and sizes across the maps, and you need different techniques to travel up certain types of ramps. Usually these techniques revolve wall dodges, and each ramp is a little bit different, so you have to adjust it for each ramp, but you can actually wall dodge before hitting a ramp. This is usually a very quick method, but it's a little bit more difficult to master the timing. Or you could do it the easier way, which is actually to perform a normal ramp jump. But as you're traveling up the ramp, you then find a wall or some obstacle that you can lean against and then wall dodge off of that. That usually will give you enough momentum to shoot you up the ramp very easily. And I find this method is more consistent, but it is slightly slower. Now, if you want to improve or you're just looking for a challenge to improve your movement skills, I recommend that you check out Timmy's custom game mode Speed. This time trial movement game mode offers tricky and technical jumps that progressively get harder as the map carries on, helping you develop your movement skills in a much better and quicker way than normal deathmatch games could. But be warned, some of the maps are bloody hard, but it's good fun and good practice as well. Now, if you want to play that speed mode, you want to go to play, then find a game. Now, once in the hub list, you want to find the Raxi servers. They're listed with a giant R logo, you can't miss it, hence I'm highlighting it here. Double click on there, start a new match, go to the speed game mode, pick a map, OK, and then just start a game. There are various ways to travel across a map using weapon jumps. Some weapon jumps have similar mechanics, others you need a slightly different approach. Important to note that weapon jumping can be combined with either a dodge or a jump. Each weapon jump or dodge gives you exactly the same height but at different times. For example, a weapon dodge will give you extra velocity on your horizontal movement, making travelling across the map much quicker, but it will take longer to ramp up to its maximum peak height. Whereas the weapon jump will get to that peak height very quickly, it won't hold any forward momentum, so it will slow you down if you're trying to use this method to travel across the map. But where it does come useful is if you're directly under a ledge and it's a difficult angle, you don't need to have that run up that the weapon dodge would need. So first up is hammer dodging and jumping. To hammer jump, simply look at the ground and tap mouse 1. This will throw you into the air slightly higher than a normal jump, giving you access to small ledges and platforms. A small hammer jump does 25 damage. You can do a much larger hammer jump by simply charging up the hammer before hitting the floor. This will do a maximum of 40 damage. To hammer dodge, simply look towards the ground and then dodge and fire the impact hammer simultaneously. Now, if you get the timing wrong, you're going to fail this multiple times, and it does take a while to get that muscle memory down, but once you get it, you'll be flying across the map in no time. Next up, we have rocket jumping and rocket dodging. These are the biggest and most badass ways to fly across a map very quickly, but they come at a huge risk. They will do on average around 93 damage to yourself every time you attempt a rocket jump or dodge. Now, if you mistime the dodge or the jump while attempting a rocket jump, you can end up doing 100 damage to yourself. So you've got to be careful, only use it as a last resort, and only if you've got enough health and armor to sacrifice. Although rocket jumps can be expensive on the health front, they can actually give you a slight increase over the jump boots in terms of height and velocity. To rocket jump, simply look towards the ground, jump, and then immediately follow by pressing mouse 1. To rocket dodge, simply look towards the ground, dodge, and then immediately follow by pressing mouse 1. When rocket dodging or jumping, the timing between the jump and firing the rocket is incredibly important. If you do it too early or at the same time, you'll end up killing yourself or at least doing 100 damage. Now, if you jump or dodge with a little bit of a gap between firing the rocket, you can actually do a smaller rocket jump doing less damage, but you won't get much height or velocity out of it, but it can be useful in certain situations. Now, if you dodge or jump with just a few milliseconds difference between the jump and pressing mouse 1, you'll fly through the air with great velocity and height. Now, when performing any kind of weapon jump, it's important to set a mouse sensitivity that gives you enough flexibility and comfort that enables you to look towards the ground, then immediately back up at a moment's notice. The quicker you can do this and the more fluid the mouse movements, the better. You want to be able to quickly readjust any jumps that have gone slightly astray, and also if you get in a high pressured situation when you're under attack, you want to be able to get your aim back on point as quickly as possible. So that just about covers the weapon jumping, and if you're wondering where the shock rifle jumping is, it got significantly nerfed in the last build, so it's just not as useful as impact hammer jumping anymore. You can still do it and it works the same way as an impact hammer jump, but you're just going to do more damage and get less height out of it, so it's not as viable as it used to be. But if you want to learn how to stinger jump, which is incredibly useful and the cheapest way to fly around across a map, you can actually click on the annotation above and I've got a 6-minute video or something that teaches you how to shard jump. Now it's slightly more difficult than any of the other weapon movement, but once you get it, it can be incredibly useful on certain maps. But anyways guys, good luck, have fun out there in the tournament, and see you out there soon.